soon for sports.
Keeping score with Jess and Dean, the dream.
It is Sunday, February 4th. We are back on YouTube because I'm not blowing my nose and looking like crap. Z-Pack ended up doing its job. Hi.
Hair down. You look wonderful this week.
Thank you very much.
In contrast to a week ago.
There wasn't much footage of that, which is the way I like to keep it.
February 4th, Jess, looks a lot better than the January 27th, Jess. But you still, again, the Iron Horse. You went out there and you played.
Yeah, of course. I'm not going to leave. Yeah, I mean, sports doesn't stop. We always have to report. And, so I appreciate you taking one for the team and looking at me last week.
I've seen worse.
Of me?
I've had worse. No.
Definitely. I definitely think that's the case.
Early here.
I know, but we're not even a minute in. So I have to start off the show by saying, all right, Godson, actually Becky texted me the other day. Last week's show, you talked about the Dodgers winning the World Series, and you're like, well, it was a COVID year, so it doesn't, you don't really count that. Okay. So his question to you was, Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, do you consider that the same circumstance?
No, you know what? That's a tremendous question because I've bantered about that with some friends and people at work and Brady people, anti-Brady people. I keep saying, when I talk about the demise of the Patriots the last 4 years, I give Bill a pass on the COVID year. Okay. So I kind of just throw, I'm not taking anything away from Brady. There's no asterisks. Right. He played all the games. He lit it up. Mm-hmm. There were no fans all season. So that's why even, the Cam Newton year with the Pats, throw it out and give Bill a pass. As far as in football in general, the records count. Everything Brady did, I give him credit. But I just think it's ironic that you played the season with either no fans or you played at limited capacity. So there's nobody in the seats. He still got the job done. But then finally, of course, as COVID started to soften up a little bit near the end of that season, they started to be able to put more fans in the seats. And I just thought it was ironic that even on that year, and it's not Brady's fault, but the Super Bowl was placed in Tampa that year. So he played a home game, which had never happened in the history of the Super Bowl where a team got to play on their home stadium. So that's not his fault. Right. But we weren't at 100% capacity, but it was pretty close. You basically had a full house of your own fans. It was mostly Tampa fans. So he had that advantage. So there was a lot going on there. I think that the league loved it, and it was all set up for Tom, but I don't take anything away from Brady. The reason why I shut on the Dodger thing is because you play 162. That was a 60-game season. Oh, at least with the football, they still played all the games. You were just playing in front of nobody. So I'm going to give Brady more credit. The Dodger thing, that World Series was totally gaff. Doesn't even exist. I mean, the Dodgers haven't won it since '88. I'm still going. Kurt Gibson off Eckersley, back up slider.
Godson's not going to work for free anymore.
Back up slider to Kurt Gibson. He limped around the bases. That's the last time he really won a World Series. The COVID year, I'm chucking it out, 60 games. But Brady did play the full season. All right. But it is a little bit tainted. Just a little bit.
All right. Well, that was his question because I don't question you. I didn't even know it was the same year, to be honest with you.
I kind of like to be called out.
I know. You were prepared. Nice. I didn't even tell you what we were going to talk about.
But it's funny that's been mentioned a lot. And I could see where he would equate the two. Yeah. But again, they still played the season. They didn't play, it wasn't a 16-game season, but they only played 11. Right. They played all the games out just in front of nobody.
All right. Okay. Well, that's his answer. And
Tom's got 7 rings.
Oh,
yeah.
That's amazing.
If Clayton Kershaw wants to go home and retire, I know he's not a Dodger as of this moment. If he wants to go home and say he got a World Series title in 2020, all the power to him, but it doesn't count in my eyes.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's a beauty of having an opinion. Everybody has one, and that's fine. You're sticking to it, and that's why I have no say in whatever. I just try and keep the peace, love the Dodgers, and I love Tom Brady. That's it.
That's why you drive the show.
That's it. Before we get into, because next week we should tell everybody we're going to do a Super Bowl special. We're going to be talking prop bets. We obviously are going to have Godson's pick of the week for that game. It's going to be like a fun show. We're just going to go all football. I do want to mention local news that I'm very excited about. Jamie Lee Curtis is in town shooting a movie with Woody Harrelson. At any point, we could be walking around Providence, not that I would, but they're here. They could be listening to 790 The Score or watching us on YouTube. Jamie Lee is one of my favorites.
No, you just got to smile ear to ear. And it's funny because I love Jamie Lee, but I also love Woody Harrelson. Yeah. White Man Can't Jump. And of course, Woody Boyd a.k.a. Woodrow Tiberius Boyd on Cheers from 86 to 93.
Yep.
One of my favorite characters of all time. So, of course, Jamie Lee Curtis. I think trading places with Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy, I think you'd go another route on
True
that.
Lies.
Yeah, she was hot in that.
Yes, but just her in the Freaky Friday, Knives Out, Halloween. She's in everything, and everything she's in, I'm just like, I just love Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm trying to throw the vibes out there.
No,
and if Jamie Lee, I don't even know what I'd say. I'd actually be like an idiot.
I want to keep it clean because obviously there's always a potential edit with me. But let's just call it what it is. Since I was a kid, I mean, I just think that she's got one of the most rocking bodies I've ever seen. She's amazing. And I've seen footage of her at 65. She's 65 now.
Yeah.
She looks amazing. I'm like,
Will Gilbert met her, took a selfie with her, and she looks... And she doesn't have all the work done. Like, she doesn't look like one of those, housewives. Yeah. She looks natural, and she's still gorgeous. So, I mean, I'm just putting the vibes out there.
Of course, her dad, Tony Curtis, a singer back way before our time, back in the old Bing Crosby, Perry Como days.
I wasn't at any of those shows.
I don't think they were running that on Pro FM, were they?
We might have. Pro FM turns 50. No, I guess not. Yeah, 50 in April.
Half 100 over here.
I know. It's crazy. There's a lot of heritage with that station. Anyway, so throwing out the good Jamie Lee Curtis, hope to meet her vibes out there. And I'm just really excited. I just think that's a great local story that they're shooting a film here and we have major celebrities, just walking around. And there's going to be a lot of things shot at the State House, which means there could be even more traffic.
Help me out a little bit, Jess. What type of movie are they filming?
It's a political... It's based on a true story.
Is it based on a particular person? Because the name of the movie it seemed like
it's her name,
of
some.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
I don't. Barbie put it all over her socials. Forgive me. I don't even have the name of it. I should have been more prepared. But it's. Oh no, she.
So this movie is happening.
Yeah. Oh no, 100%.
Because you know what, Jess? It made me think, and this would be different if it was like a TV series. This is a movie. Because I remember about 10 or 15 years ago, they brought some actors, some big names to Providence to film a potential series. Like they're going to do a pilot, and it didn't get picked up. And of course, Joe Pantoliano was.
Is that the Housewives of North Providence?
No, this was Joe Pantoliano, who was played Ralphie on The Sopranos, one of my favorite actors. He was in town. He would have been in that series, but it didn't get picked up. So I was just wondering.
I wonder if they still get paid.
I doubt it. But so this one's a go. This movie's a go.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I'm trying to do it, Providence. Ella McKay.
That was it.
Yeah, so James L. Brooks, he's directing it. It's going to be shot, a lot of it at the State House. And, they were there on Thursday doing all the press. And I guess what happened was like Jamie Lee and Woody Harrelson thought they were just going to go to this, and it was completely packed. And they were just like, oh, wow, Rhode Island really loves celebrities. So, anyway, be on the lookout for Jamie Lee.
You're very excited about this. Of course, again, I love Jamie Lee, but I'm a big Woody Harrelson guy. Big fan.
Well, either way, get him to Antonio's. I'll figure it out. Rick Simone probably.
Gotta get him to the Trot in Knightsville.
Yeah, we gotta have some drinks.
You'd split your short rib with them, wouldn't you?
100%. I don't even know if she would eat it, but whatever. Either way, it's delicious. All right, so we got a lot of things to talk about. Obviously, we're gonna kick off with the NFL, and let's go.
This game is over, and you can doubt the Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs being the AFC champions for the 4th time in 5 seasons. The Chiefs have the Lamar Hunt Trophy, and they're taking it to Vegas for Super Bowl 58.
Beasley takes the ball high in the air. It ricochets around. George Kittle has got it, and the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. Bet on red. What started in Vegas will end in Vegas. The 49ers are going to Super Bowl 58.
I got to tell you, the Kansas City commentator was way more excited than the 49ers. Is that because it was just expected and the Chiefs were just like crappy and then they weren't?
Well, I think this was the first time just in the last 5 or 6 years that it seemed like everybody wrote Kansas City off a little bit. And of course, they did that to themselves by having a pedestrian season, a little bit awful. I remember on Christmas, they couldn't beat the Raiders at home.
I know.
They looked terrible.
They got torched.
And of course, they got it together. They had to go on the road this year. They didn't have the best, regular season record. This looked like it was set up for Baltimore. Lamar had the home field, and it just looked like they were undisciplined. And you just cannot bet against Patrick Mahomes, whether it's road, home. He had a good game, but he didn't look like he had to really do much in this game. Just don't mess it it up and don't turn the ball over, he's never going to give you life. If he knows he's got you, he's got you. He's not going to make a stupid turnover. He's not going to get happy feet. He knows what he's doing.
He looked more experienced than Lamar and the entire Ravens team. They looked like a bunch of punk, immature, high school players.
And speaking of some of the stupid moves, of course, the kid Zay Flowers he changed
he's
the
so
whole.
talented.
He changed the whole game. Of course, he makes a big 50-yard catch, but then he taunts the guy after the play. You're going to get bagged for that.
Yep.
And of course, that first play of the fourth quarter when they're going in to cut it to 3, and he fumbles the ball on the goal line, trying to do a little bit too much. It was unfortunate. And late in the first half, a lot of people forget the play where there was a 15-yard penalty, which contributed to 3 points. Of course, by former Patriot linebacker Kyle Van Noy. So that was just stupid with the headbutt, and Kelsey's laughing because he's smart enough to take the bait.
Right.
He knew that Van Noy was going to take the cheese on that one. So it's just undisciplined. Surprised to see Harbaugh. He's usually, got his team in order, ready to win the game like that because they've done it before. They've done it against the Patriots. But this was just Patrick Mahomes being Patrick Mahomes, doing enough to win. And another disappointing finish for Lamar Jackson, who will win another MVP. But it's based on the regular season. Just can't seem to get it done in the postseason.
I did think Travis Kelce was back. He looks excellent. And I think previous games, maybe he was hurt, maybe he had a shoulder injury or what, but he was full force for that
Swift factor.
Perhaps. And by the way, let's not forget that it's very convenient. Keep in mind, I don't think the Ravens were going to win. I do think there were a lot of PI calls that they gotten away with. There could have been plenty of calls that could have went in their direction, but I don't think they would have scored anyway.
I respect the fact that you're saying it not after the fact, but even though you're saying it now, go back to last week's show where you did think that there was a Swift factor.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a conspiracy theory. You felt like if the NFL had their choice, they're not going to bag it. They're not going to gift wrap it for him. But it's more beneficial for Swift and the Chiefs to be in the Super Bowl than, say, Lamar and, as far as the sexy pick would be the Chiefs with Swift. So they're going again, and it was amazing. And then, of course, I know we're going to shift over to the NFC, but it's Patrick Mahomes again. 6 years as a starter. 5 straight, I think 6 straight AFC Championship games. He's, of course, 2 MVPs in the Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowl championships. I mean, the resume, he's chasing Brady for history. He's amazing. I can't even get all the statistics out. Yeah. He's lighting it up, so I wouldn't rule him out again. We don't have to make our picks this week until next week, but he's there again.
Yeah, and you know who else is there? Anyway, so
thought you promised never to play that again.
Well, I mean, they're back in the Super Bowl. Got to play Brittany Mahomes.
I
idiot.
That one. Yeah. I remember the first time you did. I almost came out of my seat, but I'm used to it now. But wow. But you got to give credit where credit's due.
No,
Andy
even
Reid,
though he walks around like this on a duck.
Yeah, Andy Reid. You know what? A lot of people are talking about how he doesn't have the nicest body and all this, but he knows how to win football games.
I can't believe how bad his body is. There's no definition whatsoever. But Tom Brady really didn't. It's not like he was all jacked either.
No.
Maybe there's just... But he has no tone whatsoever.
He's amazing, though.
Yeah, he is. I'm not taking that away from him.
Watching him
I
run.
was just anticipating something else.
I know. I watch him run, though, and you're looking at him methodically run down the field and get separated. And, you're waiting for someone to, clean his clock, but he knows how to get out of bounds and not get hurt. He just has it. He has the it factor. We talked about it earlier. Some guys have it and some guys don't. And you can't teach that. Andy Reid's a great coach, but this kid's gifted. He's special.
He certainly is. All right, so let's talk about the NFC. I'm very happy that Christian McCaffrey making it to his very first Super Bowl. Olivia.
Well, the Culpo factor.
A Culpo connection. But I was very surprised at how hot Detroit came out, and I'm just like, well, I picked Detroit just because I'm like, what do I got to lose? And Godson said take them with the 7-point spread, which obviously they covered. I just can't believe you're up by so much, and then it's another team after halftime. Where'd you go?
All right, so you and I are from Cranston, so of course the youth football leagues would be called CLCF, okay?
Correct.
So I know if you went to watch one of those games, you're not going to see a lot of punts and a lot of field goal attempts, okay?
Yeah.
This is not CLCF, okay? Dan Soup Campbell at some point, and I guess, listen, that is his MO. He's been bold.
Yes.
All year, we get it. The Dallas game where he refused to kick it. We know his MO. But at some point, you forget about. Listen, you got to have a feel for the game. At some point, you got to kick. You got to kick it.
Yeah,
You
and
gotta
this is a
punt it, you gotta
bigger
kick
game
it.
than.
And now there's the rumor that the kid Badley wasn't the greatest kicker. Okay, I know he's been on the scrap heap a couple of times, but then he shouldn't be on the roster. It wasn't a situation. This wasn't a 55-yarder. 7 minutes and 34 seconds left. You're down 3. You got to kick the field goal there to tie the game and give you. To me, that's like saying you have no faith in your defense. Also, that's how I feel. But of course, San Fran down 24-7 at halftime. They come storming back. The aforementioned Christian McCaffrey continues to live in the end zone. 2 touchdowns in this one. And Brock Purdy did have an early pick in this game, but he got it together.
Wow.
And I saw some signature runs from him. We were talking about Mahomes and his legs. Purdy had a couple of big runs.
He got out of a lot.
That were game changers for the 49ers. I know there was that one fluky play down the middle of the field where Ioka went off, the helmet. The helmet and caught it. It was almost sort of like a David Tyree type thing in the Super Bowl versus the Patriots a few years back. I know. But San Fran made enough plays in Purdy. I know a lot of people still don't buy Purdy, but he is in the Super Bowl, and give him a lot of credit. Think about the injury last year in Philly in the NFC Championship game where they had to finish the game with McCaffrey taking the snaps. They didn't have enough. They didn't have a quarterback to play.
Yeah.
So they got back to the game, and Kyle Shanahan and his group got it together, made enough plays to win the game, and San Fran is moving on to the Super Bowl. And Soup Campbell and the Detroit Lion fan base can continue to wonder what could have been, because I just felt like there were some decisions made there. Granted, he's been doing that. It has been his move, his MO, but I didn't like some of the decisions that were made that could have had a different narrative there.
It could have, but I felt like the momentum was in the 49ers' favor. As soon as they started getting on a roll, there was no stopping them. And I do believe a lot in that, and the fact that they were at home.
I'm all about taking a shot here and there, but again, like, you're down 3 and you're in field goal range. It wasn't like 55 yards.
Right.
It was a manageable field goal. If you can't kick it there, then when are you going to kick it?
Well,
Come on.
I know, but maybe that was just what he did all year long, and it worked a lot of the times. I just feel like that was a very big gamble to take in a game that would eventually lead you to the Super Bowl. So,
well, I know you and I talked about it for weeks. I'm a big proponent of seeing a team win that's never won it.
Yeah.
So obviously you got 2 teams in there they're the staple teams. They're storied franchises. Of course, Kansas City's won the last couple. They did win, I believe, the first Super Bowl with Len Dawson back 50-something years ago. Almost 60 years ago. And, of course, San Fran with all the Super Bowls with Montana, and, they've got a winning franchise. So it's going to be a great matchup, and obviously we're going to dive, into it more in our special next week.
Definitely. All right, so let's talk about some Patriots news, because now we're filling up the roster, and I'm not talking about players. I'm talking about coordinators. We got Van Pelt in there. Who else did we hire? There's 3 new guys.
Yeah, so DeMarcus Covington's been promoted from defensive line coach to defensive coordinator.
Okay.
He's been with the Patriots a few years on the staff, okay?
So there was Steve Belichick, too.
So, what? I don't know.
But I thought he was defensive coordinator.
No, not now. He's not.
Oh, what is he?
He's nothing right now.
But is he on the team still?
He's not gone yet. I don't think it hasn't been any official word on him yet. Obviously, we know he's not following Dad because Dad's
unemployed.
I don't think he's going.
Can he collect?
Oh wow, it's filing paperwork with the city.
He's like, I'm 72. I don't have a job.
Steve's in limbo right now. I guess
Okay.
he's still considered Patriot staff as of right now, but he's not going to be the defensive coordinator. That job is going to DeMarcus Covington, who's been there for the last 4 or 5 years. So he's going to be the new defensive coordinator. The offensive coordinator job goes to former quarterback Alex Van Pelt.
Okay.
Now, I don't love this move. I don't like any of these moves because none of these guys have called plays in their life. So you're just kind of like just starting from scratch.
Anyone who would take the job, we'll just give it to you.
But let's keep it serious here with Van Pelt.
I'm sorry.
20th year. This will be his 20th year on an NFL staff. He's worked, okay, mostly as a quarterback's coach. You're not calling plays, but he's there. He's been there, and also he has ties to Elliot Wolf, who's one of the director of player personnel for the Patriots now. He was with him in Green Bay years ago. So there's a connection there. So now we're starting to connect some of the dots here. Van Pelt was an average quarterback in his career, but he's done a nice job. He also was the offensive coordinator the last 4 years in Cleveland. But once again, you say to yourself, well, then he must have been calling the plays. No. Head coach Kevin Stefanski called the plays, other than a game against Pittsburgh during the COVID season where Stefanski tested positive for COVID, and Van Pelt stepped in and did a nice job calling plays for that particular game. So there's limited.
So he's done one game.
There's limited experience there.
We just hired someone that did one game.
All right, so
that sounds like.
Well, so again, like no experience,
Bush
no experience, and then finally the new special teams coach is Rams assistant Jeremy Springer. Please don't call me Jerry Springer, okay? So
you are not the father. Woo!
So Cam McCord's out the door. Joe Judge, see ya. And Jeremy Springer is the new special teams coach. Again, never been the guy before, but he's been on staff. So they bring, so now it's not, listen, whether we like it, whether we doubt it,
may be great.
they're rounding out the staff, but no three of these guys have had the experience or the ability to actually call plays, offensive, defensive, and even on special teams. So this is where
they actually just were. They were working at a Raising Cane's, and then they were just like, "Well, I guess I'll apply for it." I mean, I watch football. So, are you surprised? I mean, we talked about this last week. So, Bill Belichick and Mike Vrabel, no job.
Shocked.
So, what's going to happen with that? Like, how does that work? Like, they just have no job, and that's it. Like, Vrabel can't get called to do anything else.
No, like you asked me last week, and I hope you weren't serious, Dean, that Bill would Bill maybe be a defensive coordinator? No, stop
I know
me.
he won't.
All right. By the way, if he doesn't work this year, this will be the first time he's not working in the NFL
years.
since 1974, 1975. He was doing like video for the Detroit Lions, Baltimore Colts. It's just crazy. But don't forget, they both lost their jobs, and they can say it was a mutual thing in New England. But he's getting paid by the Pats, and Vrabel got fired, so he's getting paid by the Titans. So neither guy is.
I have a question. My hands up. I have a question. Do you think? First of all, Vrabel did not do a bad job.
No.
Secondly, he didn't get picked up by anyone. So I am suspicious of a scandal. That's my point.
What? Because he has Patriot ties that they
I don't
him
know.
and Bill just they blackballed him. They did the
I
whole
don't know.
week.
I don't know.
That's a lot to take right
because
there.
there was no need for him to get fired, and there's no need for him to get. There are other coaches that I've never heard of.
Well, again,
that are getting hired for
Vrabel,
the Seahawks.
I'm shocked too. I'm with you, but those last 2 years in Tennessee weren't good. He was 52-45. He had, they were the number 1 seed 3 years ago. He did some nice things there and had the ability to put a team together.
And he had a terrible quarterback.
He did make Tannehill into a pretty good player.
Right.
He will coach again. I think it could be a combination of just not the right fit, or he didn't like the fit. So and as far as Bill goes, don't forget, I'm still not going to rule out the Dallas Cowboys down the road. And you're going to laugh at me, but don't forget, Mike McCarthy kept his job. But don't forget, they didn't give him an extension, so he's a sacrificial lamb. You're going into next year with no contract. You have a contract for next year. You don't have anything going forward after that. So I think Jerry Jones said, all right, we're going to give you one more crack. If you don't cut it here, you're
very generous.
You don't even have a contract, so you're out there. So Bill could still slide in there at some point. It's going to be interesting to see. But I am shocked that both guys don't have work. But it could be their own decision. I don't know.
Do you think Vrabel would do college?
It's good. That's a good point and a good question.
Because he's, I think he'd work well with. He's young enough. He would probably work well with the young kids.
He was at Ohio State for a while as a coordinator there, but now of course they have a defensive coordinator already, and they just filled coordinate. They
Drink every time you hear us say coordinate.
They just filled the OC spot with, of course, Bill O'Brien just went there. So obviously Vrabel's a defensive guy, but I don't know, maybe a bridge. Yeah, Vrabel's young enough. He's 49, 50. So Bill, I don't see it at 72 to take a year off. I'm shocked. And I'll try to get more clarity on the with the sons, Brian and Steve.
Please
but
do.
right now, I think that they still are a part of the Patriot organization as we sit here and do the show on February 4th.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And final topic about the Patriots. There's some discussion going around that bringing in Jacoby Brissett or Justin Fields are possibilities. And my question to you is, how do you feel about either of those players?
Okay. Well, first of all, you're talking about night and day. You're talking about a guy who's Brissett is a clipboard guy. He's a second, third quarterback. I know you like him. You'd like to see him come back. Justin Fields is he a franchise quarterback? I don't think so. Even though he was drafted really high, I know they traded up Chicago to get him. I'd be interested in Fields. I wouldn't mortgage the farm. I'm just saying, I wouldn't give up everything to get him if the deal was right and you can make the numbers work. I'd be listening. Okay, I'd still rather take a shot at 3 to draft one of the quarterbacks that are out there than go with Fields and have to trade and make moves. So Brissett, I'm not going to be up tonight worried about if we're going to get Jacoby Brissett.
No, but I think it's a good guide.
If you're asking me, I'll sum it up for you. It's an upgrade over Bailey Zappi.
Okay.
So she just got better at your number 2 position if you bring him in.
So you think he's worse than Mac Jones?
It's a good question. Totally different type of quarterback. I would actually, to be honest with you, probably trust Brissett in a short little stint a little bit more. If someone were to go down, if you had if a quarterback was out for a month to, to 6 weeks, I could trust Brissett in the short term. I don't believe he's the guy that's going to take you anywhere, but he would improve that quarterback room, and he has a high football IQ. I do like Brissett, but he's not going to move the needle for me. Fields is intriguing, but I'd rather just draft, Drake May if he's there at 3. That would be the play for me.
They're saying May. Who's the number 1 draft pick? I forget.
It looks
his name.
like it's going to be Caleb Williams, and of course that's Chicago's pick. So we got to figure out what they're going to do there first. If they're going to trade down and just keep restocking the cupboard, because it looks like the Bears they got the 10th pick. They're loaded right now. They got picks and they're getting better quick. So
there's a lot of discussion about Williams and him not being. He could go first, but he not being mentally stable. There was a lot of talk about his actions in the locker room, on the field, and crying and like breakdowns.
Yeah.
So I feel like, all right, maybe he'll go first, but I don't know. There's a lot of quarterbacks that you pick in the first round and then never play again because they're not ready.
It sounds to me, Justin, I'm not Mel Kiper, I'm not Todd McShay, but these guys, they're dialed in.
You're Dean the Dream.
It sounds to me like whether you like him or not, if you're picking one, it's almost like he's the must pick at one because they can't take the chance that you passed on him. He's that talented, they're saying. And I don't like a lot of things I saw from the second half at USC.
Right.
Then the father wanted part ownership of wherever he goes. Stop it. Like Ball Jr. over here. Stop.
Right.
You're not Levon Ball or Lavello, whatever his name is. No, but I think he's a generational talent. I think that whoever's picking one, whether it's the Bears or whether they trade out, has to take him. So I'm actually glad New England. I don't want him. Okay. So I'm actually glad New England doesn't have one. I'm okay with being at 3. If the Commanders decide to go Drake May at 2, then the Patriots could go Jaden Daniels from LSU. Mm-hmm. They could go Marvin Harrison, and then worry about the quarterback maybe in the second.
How are you going to get him the ball?
And quarterback in the second round, you can go Michael Penix Jr. if he's still available, the kid out of Washington, and there's a kid Joe Milton, I believe his name is. They could grab him maybe in the second round. He's the kid out of Tennessee, who I guess this week was terrific at the Senior Bowl. So I mean, there's a lot of different ways they could go there. Obviously, I know you don't want to see an offensive tackle go.
No, but not sexy.
No, it's not. But it's about rebuilding putting your next great team together, and it's going to take a while. So it's going to be.
We got plenty of time.
It's going to be interesting.
That trash bag in the basement filled with Patriots gear is not coming up anytime soon. Do you have any other football notes? Which I thought we were going to be quick in football, but we're 26 minutes.
It's football. That's how it rolls here.
Seriously.
Real quick, of course, Las Vegas, you mentioned his name last week. He finally got a job. Cliff Kingsbury's the new offensive coordinator for the LV Raiders. Okay, so he gets that job. And I was close, but Dan Quinn did not get the job in Seattle. He gets the job in Washington, which kind of officially closed the door of Belichick getting a gig, because I thought maybe because of the ties to Annapolis and that area, maybe Bill could go there. But Dan Quinn is the new head coach for the Washington Commanders. So still some guys on the move and a bunch of coordinators. Everybody's kind of on the move. So it's interesting, yeah.
Drink coordinators. Anytime I say coordinators, drink. It's probably 50 shots that we would already take in.
Wow.
Seriously.
Well, for now, it's going to be Gatorade Zero for
All
me
right,
because we're doing a show here.
Yes,
so,
you do the Gatorade Zero. We're going to thank our sponsors, and then we're going to talk the Celtics.
All right. Keeping score with Jess and Dean the Dream, sponsored by
Generations Adult Day Health Center. Generations is a day facility in Smithfield that provides services to meet the needs of adults with disabilities and the elderly. Their staff provides a range of adult day health services, such as case management, nursing, healthcare, nutrition, and more. At Generations, you're taken care of with registered nurses, certified nursing assistants, and plenty of direct care support staff on the floors at all times. With nearly 30,000 square feet of space, the state-of-the-art facility includes an open dining room, spacious physical and occupational therapy suites, a fully equipped gym and exercise room, and a TV movie theater, just to name a few. To find out more, visit generationsri.com. That's generationsri.com. Prout Mechanical in Providence, a family-owned and operated business. They provide HVAC installations, replacements, and maintenance services. They also offer indoor quality services to make sure that your home remains healthy and safe. They have licensed and trained technicians to keep up with industry standards and technology. They're also an authorized Mitsubishi Electric Diamond Elite contractor, so they can provide the best heating and cooling solutions. So get in touch with them today. Visit ProutHVAC.com. That's ProutHVAC.com, or call them at 487-4343 for a free estimate. It's the hidden gem in the historic district of East Greenwich, the Oaks Tavern on Duke Street, a laid-back, welcoming atmosphere with some of the lowest drink prices in town. Described as a grade A dive bar, complete with free pool, a jukebox, air hockey, and a great place to meet after work. It's a place where the staff treats everyone like regulars, and regulars treat you like family. Visit the Last Hometown Tavern in East Greenwich. Check out the Oaks Tavern, serving cold beer since 1896.
How is it somebody one day is going to have to explain to me, how can you play in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s? Technology wasn't what it is today. The money that they're making today far exceeds the money that they once made. But notice how dudes played, not just to uplift the sport, but to take care of themselves, because the little bit of pot that was available to them, they knew that they had to go to work. It's amazing what you do when there's a level of urgency attached to it.
What about protecting their bodies?
Stop protecting their bodies. How many times did Stevie and I be in a New York Knicks locker room in the 90s, and I got Ewing, who's got two bad knees with his feet in the ice buckets, basically can't walk, and he's out there 82 games a year.
But maybe they don't want to do that to their
Well, I mean, why not?
Beat them.
That's for being a professional athlete. You're not 100% every day. You show up and work, don't you? He's not 100% every day. He's bouncing around America. He shows up and work. I got to work. I mean, gee whiz. And I blame Popovich. Popovich had a lot to do with this nonsense.
He's the ultimate.
And that is why Stern never gave him the job as the head coach of the Olympics.
You know what the thing is? Mad Dog, I just love he's exactly that name. Anything he says, I find it to be like he doesn't care. And I like him with Stephen A. And he's just laying it out there. And I agree with them. Like, isn't it shocking, though? Because the reason I played that clip is we're talking about how the Celtics had the Lakers at home. You thought it was going to be one of the greatest games of the year. Can't wait to see LeBron and AD. And they don't play.
Yeah, no, I mean, they both nailed it, but Stephen A's great, but Mad Dog is box office.
Oh, my God, he is hilarious.
I could listen to him all day. Of course, one of my favorite shows on the MLB Network, High Heat, daily from 1 to 2. Love it. But no, they nailed it here. I mean, there's no urgency for these guys to play, and Popovich is the culprit here. He started this whole thing with load management and the Kawhi Leonards of the world and never play. You never know. Now, you and I don't go to games, but I mean, if we ever did, if you went to a game and you were going just to see that, there's only so many guys in any sport that you would say I'd pay to watch him.
Right.
Brady, Mahomes, you're paying for those guys. If they just decided not to play, what'd you do if Mahomes took games off?
Right.
I mean, at least in football, last week of the season, the 18th game, all right, rest. You know it there. They clinched. You know ahead of time. This is like, LeBron on game day Thursday afternoon, 5 hours before the game, he's a DNP. So it's tough. It's tough to see this. And I do agree. Back in the day, those guys played no matter what. You know, and Patrick Ewing, poor guy, never won an NBA championship, but the guy went out there and played 82 games. Those are the real athletes that went out there no matter what and played. You were under the weather last week, but you still got it done.
It's the same level, and I'm getting paid the same as well.
Oh, wow. Talking cheddar
Well, no,
here.
and I also think that's a lot to do with, and you did say, because I sent you the text, I'm like, AD, and LeBron were a bunch of little babies, and you're like, no, LeBron would play if he could play.
Yes.
So give him that credit.
I'm giving him the pass.
Yeah.
He's 21 years in the league. He's 39 years old. I think he played 48 minutes versus the Warriors not even last Saturday and was box office in that game. He was terrific. He had almost tripled up. Listen, he goes out there. He brings it. That's one thing about LeBron, whether you like him or not.
Yeah.
He does bring it.
He does have a passion for the game, and he's older.
Yeah, and of course, you don't think at 39, like, only so many more bites at the apple that he doesn't want to come to Boston and play against the Celtics. It's still a rivalry. It's not what it was in the 80s, but still Celtics-Lakers. You only see them twice a year, once in their building. So if he could have been out there Thursday night, he would have been. But a testament to the Lakers, the guys that did play, give them some credit. And Austin Reeves pumped in 32 points, so you got to give them a little bit of credit.
Pumping in no points, well, not 0 points, but looking like crap. We got Tatum and Brown, and what do you think? They just mailed it in once they found out?
I think yes, but I also think that this has been building up for about 2 weeks now, Jess. They were 20-0 at home ever since that Denver loss 2 weeks ago at home versus the Nuggets. They've lost 3 out of 5,
yeah.
and some of the games haven't been close. They even had to come back from 17 down versus Zion and the Pelicans the other night. So they're really, really struggling. They beat the Pacers at home, and that was only because Tyrese Halliburton came back in this game. He had 13 points and 10 assists, but he was on a minutes restriction. So Rick Carlisle sat him in the second half in the middle of the third quarter.
You're kicking the camera.
Oh, wow, I'm kicking cameras. Did it move?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, Steve went to deal with something, so I don't know if the camera's on me anymore.
I'm
but whatever.
Fidgety.
Yeah.
But no. So Halliburton had sit the rest of the game, and the Celtics did exploit that. But I'm seeing something here where they just look like they look complacent, and it starts with Brown and Tatum. I don't want Holiday and Porzingis have been great. Porzingis is already back from that injury. He's okay.
Yeah.
So there's no excuses here.
Sprain.
There's no excuses to lose 3 of their last 5 at home. They got smoked by the Clippers last Saturday.
Yeah.
Absolutely destroyed. That game was over in the first quarter at home.
Right.
So there's something about not showing up. And if you're talking about winning the whole thing, I know they're 37-12, but if you want to hoist that Larry O'Brien trophy in June, there's got to be more of a sense of urgency. And I'm just not seeing it the last couple of weeks. I don't like the way they're playing. So I believe that this whole Celtic-Laker thing, it bothered me, but this has been building up. This didn't just happen on that day, but good chance that they played down to the competition and felt like they could just roll the balls out and win with talent, and it doesn't always win out.
No, they get slapped in the face.
Yeah.
Speaking of slapping people in the face, that's a little aggressive, but I don't like Missoula's attitude either.
No.
I'm trying to support the Johnston guy. I'm trying to like him, and then sometimes I'm like, all right, he's okay. And then other times he says stuff in a press conference. I'm like, someone called him a bird brain, and he's like, "Oh no, I have a brain for a bird." Like, stop getting into that too much.
I agree with you.
Answer your stupid questions. You don't need to be like retaliating. Say, we know you probably read it or saw someone say it.
That was a little misconstrued. Perkins has some opinions, and I don't think he meant it the way it came out. But some things kind of get lost in translation sometimes. But no, I'm with you. He's got to clean it up a little bit with the interviews. But again, if you're winning basketball games, we don't really care what Missoula says or doesn't say. If he wants to have a two, you better win games. You better be winning home games, and you didn't win against the Lakers, and that's a signature game, and it wasn't even close. 114-105. I don't even really feel like it was that close. And like I said, Reeves with 32, and the Lakers get a well-needed win without with their two best players with James and Unibrow out in this one. So a little disappointed in the C's right now.
I'm glad you don't have a unibrow, and I think your haircut looks very nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
And
I would say I concur, but okay. I appreciate the compliment.
We're going to do videos from last week and how much
it's not so much. See, that's the thing. I just feel like it looks the same as it did before I got it cut. No. I don't know. And I'm, of course,
it looks healthier.
Brenda's like family to me. I love her to death, and I'm in it till the end, till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, she did buy a sweatshirt. So
no, she bought swag, and she's diminutive, so she got the medium. We get more profit off that.
Yeah, I know. Seriously. The double X's are screwing us. All right, go ahead.
No, so obviously, a little disappointed in the C's right now, but do I think they'll be okay? Yes, but I mean,
I don't think they're going to win.
Well,
I don't.
No, I start to wonder if they have that it factor in JT and JB. I still have my doubts.
I'm not into it. Well, I don't think it's going to happen.
Listen,
they're going to make it, and they're not going to win. And we're going to be disappointed.
I'm going to tell you a team that probably won't win the NBA title, but you know what? I give them credit. Tom Thibodeau is one of the best coaches in the league, and the New York Knicks, 14-2 in January, and they started out February with a win the other night. Jalen Brunson dropped 40 on the day he got announced as an All-Star. Here's a kid who was a second-round pick out of Villanova. Everybody thought he was too small. He's a terrific ball player. He dropped 40. He's averaging 27 a game. They're playing without Julius Randle, who's out for 2 to 3 weeks with a shoulder injury, and the Knicks they're up to third now in the Eastern Conference at 32-17. So there's a team that's going out and playing hard. And of course, another former Villanova star, Dante DiVincenzo, has been lighting it up for the Knicks. He had 38 the other night. He's been hitting the three ball. He's been playing really well. And of course, they're built on their defense. Okay, that deal for OG Anunoby, it's worked out for them. And he didn't even play in that game against the Pacers on Thursday night. So the Knicks are getting it done with smoke and mirrors. Mitchell Robinson, the center's out, so they're playing a little bit thin. But I like what the Knicks are doing. They're sort of the team that's trending upward right now.
I saw that.
One other note is Damian Lillard went back to Portland for the first time, and had some interesting comments like after the game about, and obviously I'm all about a guy that plays in one city and stays there, and I felt bad for the guy because he played
and lives in works in a 3 mile. The fact that you're here is shocking, especially with this bridge bowl.
Well, I love what we do, so that's why I'm here. But I prefer to stay in the city, my city.
Yeah.
But no, Lillard went back to Portland and made some comments after the game. They lost the game. Milwaukee lost 119-116. Doc's already mushing it with Milwaukee.
Good job, buddy.
And Portland's, they're dreadful. Portland's terrible. Poor Chauncey Billups doesn't have much to work with over there. Malcolm Brogdon's there, former Celtic, but Rob Williams out for the season.
How's his elbow?
Yeah, he's been playing pretty well. I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the move to a contender at the trade deadline. But I guess Lillard said, I still see, and you don't usually say this when you're on a team, he said, I still see a path someday that brings me back to Portland. So it's almost as if he's saying he knows that he had to go somewhere else to try to get a ring. And I'm not saying he's ring jumping because he's still a great player. He's with Giannis now in Milwaukee trying to get the hardware. I think he's saying basically when it's all said and done, maybe late in his career, and it's getting late now.
Yeah.
But maybe the last year he would retire as a Portland Trailblazer, which I like that kind of talk. I don't like it saying it while you're on Milwaukee, but I think he's saying basically I love the city and it's made my career, and I miss Portland. I think that's what he's kind of saying. Yeah.
And now I kind of feel bad for him, but at the same point, I don't feel bad for him too much because he's making $1 billion.
Yeah, and he's one of the top players in the league. It's a generational offensive type player. Again, that's why Milwaukee's been a little bit off this year because they lost a little on the defensive end. As Steve,
he kicked the camera. That's why.
Oh, Steve's just realizing. See, Steve, if you were there, I know you had something to do, but I got a little fidgety. I didn't realize I was doing it.
As soon as he came back to the camera, he's like, "What? This isn't how I left it."
Well,
he's kicking it.
No, well, as Frank Costanza was saying, Seinfeld, Estelle's got the Jimmy leg, so Jimmy legging it over here.
Jimmy's down.
That's why we got in an agreement to sleep in separate beds. We made the agreement 30 years ago.
Not me and Dean.
No.
We're talking about.
All right.
We're talking about a show. Steve's like that. This is not us. I know people think that this is a thing.
I don't know
not.
if little Jess is listening, but no, there's nothing. There's no funny business going on here. All right,
Absolutely not.
I dropped my pen, but I'm not going to hit
All right,
anything.
want me to give you another pen? Here, do you want a pencil? Don't hit anything. All right. Back to the basketball. We got 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I know.
This is worse than we have a lot of football.
I know, seriously.
Well, no, so I'm going to put a bow on basketball. There was one quick trade. Two guys that never play. Steven Adams, I liked Steven Adams years ago.
I like Sam Adams.
When Oklahoma City gets traded to the Rockets for the immortal Victor Oladipo, who never plays. But I think Emi Udoka likes this deal for next year. Adams is out for the season, but they bring him over. They make some of the money work, and they think Adams can be a good backup center there in Houston next year. He's swill at this point. So that's a deal more for the future, but two guys that are not playing right now. So that's a wrap on the NBA.
That's a pretty sweet deal. All right, we're going to go to baseball now. So do you have some hot stove for me? You have to be getting excited because spring training right around the corner.
Well, especially you in the opening today talking about how it's almost spring already.
I know,
I mean, pitches and catches in a few weeks. So there's been a few moves around, Jess. Some small moves. So the Red Sox didn't tender him, but Toronto signed Justin Turner. What a nice year for the Red Sox last year. He had a career-high 96 RBIs, 23 homers. He hit 276. He's 39 years old. And I'll tell you why I love this deal. He can help them as a first baseman DH. He'll be their primary DH, but he can help that locker room. That team is underachieving all the time. He's going to help a Vladimir Guerrero Jr., a Bo Bichette. Those guys need a little bit. Those guys need a little infusion of veteran leadership. They just don't have that guy there that's been there and done it before. Okay, of course, he was on that 2020 Dodger team that I said was fake.
Oh,
but
godson.
Turner is a good ball player, and that's a great move for them. 1 year, $13 million deal. So that's a good deal for Toronto and for Turner. San Diego signed left-handed reliever Wandy Peralta, 4 years, $16.5 million. Been a journeyman his whole career, but found his way the last 3 years with the New York Yankees.
I love a good Wandy.
2.83 ERA last year. I'm trying to keep it together here. Big Wandy person, huh? Yeah.
I do like a good Wandy. It's just light and it's a dessert you don't think about. Like I don't feel guilty eating it. Put it that way. Okay, back to you.
All righty then. Moving on. So, listen, I want to talk about the Baltimore Orioles real quick because they're up for sale. Peter Angelos has had that team forever.
Whole team?
The Orioles are for sale right now, and there's
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cal Ripken.
Yes.
He's going to buy it?
He's involved.
All
Yes.
right, very good. Yay!
Nice. So obviously it's a group headed by Baltimore native David Rubenstein. He's got the group that's gonna, obviously.
Yeah, it's not just one
shoulder load the whole thing. And, of course, Cal Ripken, and this name came out of nowhere. Former Duke star Grant Hill's involved in this, in the ownership of the Orioles. So stay tuned for that. I don't think it's going to have any impact on what the team does, whether they spend money or not, but I have been a little disappointed thus far in what they've done in the offseason. 101 wins last year, and that AL East, you got to keep trying to get better. I believe that they was like They didn't do anything in the offseason. Craig Kimbrell, 1 year, $13 million. He's on a banana peel. That's not going to move the needle for me or for the Orioles. But they finally make a move on Thursday night, trading for Milwaukee starter, former Cy Young Award winner, Corbin Burns. Not Corbin Burnson from L.A. Law and Roger Dawn
and
from Major League. Yes. But Corbin Burns, 10-8 last year with a 3.39 ERA. I believe that the missing link to that rotation, they don't have an ace and a veteran guy at the top of that rotation. So that's the big move. They give up a couple of minor leaguers and some draft positions, some currency there. But I love this move. He was the 2021 Cy Young Award winner. Love this move for the Orioles. It's going to be a game changer if he can stay healthy. He's a swing and miss type guy. He gets a lot of strikeouts too.
Throwing curveballs.
And he's got a nice hook, too.
There you go.
He's
Very
got a nice hook. Milwaukee was busy, though. They signed former Red Sox utility man Christian Arroyo to a minor league deal. Arroyo, got a chance to play full-time with the Red Sox, just couldn't stay healthy. He gets a chance to make Milwaukee out of spring training. And one final note in the MLB.
Please do.
And I think you actually already posted this on Instagram or it was on something on your social media, but I woke up Friday morning, and I got a text from one of our loyal listeners, Steve DeMayo.
Oh, Stevie.
Who's looking for a little bit of credit here, and I didn't know what he meant because I got a text just saying Theo.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, where is this going? I mean, I don't know who's Theo. I remember Theo Ratliff. He played for the 76ers. But Theo Epstein, I told you when the Red Sox were looking for a GM, I'm like, let's bring him back.
Right.
But he's been working for the MLB office. He can do whatever he wants. I mean, he built the Cubs up, built the Red Sox. He broke 2 curses. Theo Epstein at 50 years old can do whatever he wants to do.
As long as it's not the other Epstein. But yeah, okay, go ahead. But he was dead. Anyway.
That's aggressive right there. Jeffrey, deceased.
Well.
but no, I want Steve to take a little step back. He wanted a little credit for this, but I hope he's not too excited that Theo Epstein is returning to Boston. In a capacity. So
okay.
Just by the way this is worded, don't get too excited in Red Sox Nation. Okay. He's coming back to Fenway Sports as part owner and advisor. So obviously when you're talking back to the Red Sox, we're talking about like John Henry, Liverpool, all the other things. Part ownership of the Pittsburgh Penguins. There's other things going on here. He's not coming back to like look over Breslow's shoulder, but he did hire.
Possibly should.
He did hire Breslow when he was with the Cubs. Breslow was in their front office.
That's a good endorsement.
There's a nice little hook there. So can he help the Red Sox? Absolutely. But he's not being brought back here just for that. It's just so if you got to kind of look into it to really see the dynamic of it all. So a lot of people that hear Theo Epstein back to the Red Sox, it's called the Fenway Group. So it's just like it's more business. It's other ventures.
Oh, yeah.
Not just and he's going to help out in a variety of different titles and areas.
Hopefully he helps the team overall because they're not going to be good. And do we want to thank our sponsor?
Yeah.
Keeping score with Jess and Dean the Dream, sponsored by
Generations Adult Day Health Center. Generations is a day facility in Smithfield that provides services to meet the needs of adults with disabilities and the elderly. Their staff provides a range of adult day health services such as case management, nursing, healthcare, nutrition, and more. At Generations, you're taken care of with registered nurses, certified nursing assistants, and plenty of direct care support staff on the floors at all times. With nearly 30,000 square feet of space, the state-of-the-art facility includes an open dining room, spacious physical and occupational therapy suites, a fully equipped gym and exercise room, and a TV movie theater, just to name a few. To find out more, visit generationsri.com. That's generationsri.com. Prout Mechanical in Providence, a family-owned and operated business. They provide HVAC installations, replacements, and maintenance services. They also offer indoor quality services to make sure that your home remains healthy and safe. They have licensed and trained technicians to keep up with industry standards and technology. They're also an authorized Mitsubishi Electric Diamond Elite contractor, so they can provide the best heating and cooling solutions. So get in touch with them today. Visit ProutHVAC.com. That's ProutHVAC.com, or call them at 487-4343 for a free estimate. It's the hidden gem in the historic district of East Greenwich, the Oaks Tavern on Duke Street, a laid-back, welcoming atmosphere with some of the lowest drink prices in town. Described as a grade A dive bar, complete with free pool, a jukebox, air hockey, and a great place to meet after work. It's a place where the staff treats everyone like regulars, and regulars treat you like family. Visit the last hometown tavern in East Greenwich. Check out the Oaks Tavern, serving cold beer since 1896. We're getting right to it because we are at the 13-minute warning, and we are well, doing hockey, but we're not doing too much.
Well, of course, it's All-Star Weekend, Jess, and some guys get to go home and rest a little bit. It's a nice little buffer for them, but of course,
put their teeth back in.
The Bruins will they'll host Calgary on Tuesday night, I believe. They're 31-9-9 after the break, so they've had a little bit of a break, and most of their players can get a little healthy because Pasternak's the only guy. You would think that with that record they would have had more guys at the midseason classic, but Pasternak's going to go and he's going to do his thing there. So of course, a nice time to see some guys showcase some of their talents. But the Bruins will get to rest and see what happens after the All-Star break because you get a lot of trade rumors and stuff going on. So there was a trade. The kid Lindholm got traded from the Canucks to the Canucks. So I mean that's a deal. He went from the Flames to the Canucks. So there's already some moves. That was another guy that I'd
rather be a Flame than a Canuck. Because that sounds dirty.
Oh, that's talking dirty here. But
did you get Canucks last night?
Yeah.
Did you?
This morning.
Oh, wow, good job. Congratulations on your Canuck.
And I'll do 10 on Sunday. Listen, I rock it.
In an hour.
But Elias Lindholm was the player who got traded. He's a top line player, terrific skater and hockey player. He goes.
Thrown off.
He goes. He leaves Calgary for Vancouver. So that was the move of during All-Star weekend. But the Bruins are fine, 31-9-9. They'll get back to work versus Calgary after the All-Star break.
All right, very good. We're going to birthdays. With our 11 minutes left, who is born today?
All right, so got one football player, probably I would say the best defensive player of all time. That would be
Malcolm Butler.
Lawrence Taylor is 65.
Ooh, he's
God
vicious.
bless him that he made it to 65 with the life that he's lived off the field, okay?
Yes,
nicknamed, of course, LT, two-time Super Bowl champ, MVP in 1986, 132.5 sacks for his career. I think he's the best. He changed the position. Belichick got to coach him, and LT and Belichick had a great relationship. Maybe not at first, but they got really close over the years.
Did he give him the LT earring for Bill? No?
No. I think this is the guy that changed the position. I think he was just, you had to know where he was on the field at all time. Number 56 came out of North Carolina as the second pick in the draft, and I believe 81. LT, I think he's the greatest of all time. A little bit of a, he
has extracurricular activities that he's involved in.
And he was in the executive card game in The Sopranos.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So was David Lee Roth, but I mean there was some. So was Frank Sinatra Jr. Yeah, it was Jr.
Hey, Jr.
But LT, one of the greats of all time. He's 65. He changed the position. Of course, a lot of people remember him for that hit on Joe Theismann on Monday Night Football, where Theismann broke his leg. I hate seeing that. LT felt terrible about that. Nobody enjoys that.
That was bad.
LT is 65, and I got one boxer. The Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, is 51.
A pretty boy.
I always believe that he was more. Obviously, he was about the brand and making the money and looking pretty, and he did. So God bless him that he was getting.
He looks like he smells good.
Yeah, he fought, and he never looked like he got any blemishes on him. But he was 39-6 in his career, and he did win 10 world championships, 10 world titles in 6 different weight classes. So the Golden Boy is 51.
Last year I was in 6 different weight classes.
That's hardcore right there. I've got one movie came out on this day.
Oh.
Yes.
February 4th.
Yep. 1994. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective came out.
Yes.
Loved it with
that
Jim
needs
Carrey.
A round of applause.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and of course, the supporting cast of Courtney Cox, who looked wonderful in that movie.
She looked hot.
Sean Young, not a big fan. She was sort of like Einhorn Finkel, laces in, laces out.
Laces
and of course,
out,
Dan Marino was in that. It was a great movie.
Yep.
I loved it. He was terrific in that.
That
and
was one of the best.
Snowflake, and I've seen it a
That's
million times.
That's not Snowflake. Why don't you cry about it, Saddlebags? I could go all day.
I love that movie, but those, I will call it a birthday. It's Ace Ventura's birthday.
I love it.
Those are my birthdays for February 4th.
All right, so let's get into some local action.
Inbounds comes to Floyd. Floyd up the right side into the forecourt. 23 seconds left. He goes right by Diarra, elevates, missed the shot short, comes out of bounds, and it's saved to Newton, who goes into the forecourt with it, to Stewart, who drives and dunks it home. Jalen Stewart's only basket of the game with 13 seconds left, and this is over. And the number 1 ranked Huskies survive an extraordinarily physical battle with the Providence Friars here in Storrs, Connecticut. 74-65, the final score.
That was a rough one. They were laying it all out there, and I know we'll talk about Cooley because you went to that game at home, but, I mean, they gave him a fight, and I did not think that the refs were calling the plays the way they should have.
Yeah,
I think Carter was fouled like 100 times.
All right, so was this a basketball game or a rock fight? I mean, this was brutal. And and not for nothing. I'm at work. I'm trying to enjoy I wasn't enjoying the second half. PC was in this game. They played hard. They just ran out of ball plays that, they just had too many guys in foul trouble. But I got to PJ's for a nightcap. And of course, you got the anti-New England type guys. So some of the diehard Friar fans were, trying to vent to me about, the calls and the this and that. Of course, you got one other guy. Well, the discrepancy in the free throws, I said, you don't make free throws, you don't win, number one.
Right.
You go, well,
you missed 12 of them.
Well, they only made 3 more than PC did. Yeah, but they got to the line 15 more times than the Friars did because they got more calls.
Yeah.
It's like, of course, Rafael Castro, the backup center, he fouled out in 7 minutes. I mean, it's pretty tough to do that, okay? But Oduro was terrific in this one. He had 20.
And he had a lot of fouls early.
And Devin Carter had a battle to get to 20, and he played hard. And the PC Friars dropped to 14-7, 5-5 in the Big East. But this game was a game.
Yeah.
In the first half, PC looked like they were there. It was
they
there
were
for the
up.
taking, and it's just, you knew that obviously at some point the level was going to, Danny Hurley had his team working. I think Kim English got another technical. I'm starting to see a little bit of a trend here. And he doesn't look like a voice, a boisterous type guy, but he got another T in this game.
I think that T was well earned because the way they were calling that game, I thought was absolutely ridiculous.
I agree. And of course, Klingon, the 7-2 center for UConn, he's got so much size on Providence. They're still getting the benefit of a lot of the calls, a lot of ticky-tack fouls on Providence. And a lot of times the Friar guys went to the basket and it looked like there was a ton of contact. Corey Floyd looked like he got banged a few times. And like you said, Carter got rocked a few times and no calls. So the Friars, I wouldn't call it a bad loss. There's still a lot to play for here at 14-7 with a big game at Villanova tonight at 6 o'clock. That's a game that, you look at the schedule and see where Villanova is in the Big East, those middling teams.
Yeah.
You got to at least split with Nova. I'd like to grab one here tonight and get back on the winning track.
Well, I hope they rested up because that was an unbelievable game. Speaking of unbelievable games, I know you were at it, and I do have a clip from Cooley, who I know you loathe right now, but we're going to play it anyway.
This atmosphere here, as I told our men, there's no better college basketball atmosphere than right here. It is my hope and my dream. Not only do we play twice, but we play 4 times a year. One for a Big East championship and one for a national championship. Providence College is built for that. They will and will continue to grow. And that'll be a dream of mine as I cheer for Providence all but those games. I'll always be part of the fabric. I'll always be part of the culture of this university. And the reason I made a business family decision to move on. And many don't have the courage to change because you're content and you just want to go status quo. I love Providence College. There's no question about it. This wasn't overnight that everybody came in here. If anything, I should ask Providence College for a bonus check based on the energy that was in here. And that's no lie.
That is no lie. How did you feel seeing your guy?
Judas. All right, first of all,
there's a lot of text. You're very mad.
First of all, now he's courageous for making the move. Stop it now,
well,
Ed. Stop
he
it, Ed.
can't say
Stop
that because there's rumors.
Yeah, because he had happy you-know-what, okay?
Yeah,
Let's just leave it there, okay? Trying to keep it clean here. Late innings on keeping score. I get a little fired up. You might see a vein come out of the head.
They're on both sides.
I'm going to cut to the chase right away. I'm just going to let you know, being there at the game, we were fixated on watching him come out of that tunnel 2 minutes before the game started with his entourage and his security detail, okay? It hurt. I got to be honest with you. I knew he was the coach of Georgetown. He's been gone 11 months. I knew it was going to happen.
Right.
But to see him with the blue shirt on and the gray pants come out, it was sort of like, a breakup and seeing, he comes in with the Hoyas.
Yeah.
It's like seeing my ex come into the trot with another guy, another dude. It hurt. It stung. I had the little pit in my stomach.
I know.
I'm not
Your
gonna lie.
texts were very upset.
Yeah.
Like you were. It was like he cheated on you.
And he almost snuck out of there with a W, too. That was a valiant game, and Carter took it over late. I think he finished with 29. He was terrific late in the game.
Oh, that last dunk.
Yeah, it was terrific. They had a 3-quarter court dunked. Pierre threw to him. That was terrific. So, of course, Ed Cooley is going to win. He is going to win at Georgetown. It won't be this year, but he will get it together. together, and I wish I could say I wish him well. I'm still scorned. You know, I may come back maybe a year from now. I have a different opinion, but right now I'm you know, I don't want to get morbid and dramatic. He's not dead to me, but I'm all set with him.
We got a new guy, Kim English. He's cool. He looks like he can play. He looks like he can be on the court. He's doing just fine.
Okay. Right.
I understand, but I understand.
I
know you're upset.
I sipped the Kool-Aid. I took I fell for the banana in the tailpipe. Okay,
Yeah.
He said he was never leaving. He lied to me.
He did.
Just saying. So just don't say that.
Right.
I don't think Danny Hurley said that at URI when he was I mean, you knew it was a stepping stone.
Right.
Just be careful what you say because they have they have consequences and actions. You say stuff. Yeah.
They affect Dean
I don't
the Dream.
forget.
Oh, I know you don't. That's a separate story. We got 2 minutes. All right. So, do you want to say anything else? Any local news?
I'm going to stick with. We never talk enough about the women's. Like Caitlin Clark out of Iowa. She's amazing. 32 points a game. She's now the second-time all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball at 3,424 points.
Yeah.
She's Washington's Kelsey Plum is the all-time leader at 3,527. She should
She
should surpass that in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
In a 110-74 win over Northwestern the other night. Clark, she's amazing. She's averaging 32 a game. Every time
Can't
she's
be
on,
stopped.
I have to watch her. I love her.
She has a lot of cockiness.
Yeah. And one little shout out, I know we gave one to DeMeo earlier for baseball, but his boy Droops, one of our loyal listeners, sent me the little clip of Jerome Lane from Pittsburgh breaking the backboard versus Providence in 1988, January 25th, 1988, where he broke the backboard versus the Friars. And it was, of course, Bill Raftery with the call, and I'm going to try to emulate a little bit. When
please do.
He goes, send it in, Jerome! So I figured Droops would love that.
That was very nice.
Yeah, and of course, I don't think you go out trying to break a backboard, but it happened, and I just always remember that vision. And of course, Sean Miller was the point guard on that Pittsburgh team. He is the coach at Xavier now. Coaches against the Friars twice a year. So he was the little point guard. By the way, he was on the Johnny Carson show when he was 5, dribbling between his legs when he was like 5 years old.
Oh, was that good?
Yeah, he didn't make it to the pros, but he was a little point guard. He was the floor general for that team.
What happens when you do break a backboard during a game?
They delay the game for an hour and they bring in reinforcements. They have backup, somewhere in the facility. They bring another one in. It takes a while, but you got to clean up all that glass.
Yeah, that's a lot of glass. You're going to get cut real bad. All right, so we have, we actually have no time left.
Oh, wow.
Do you want to do anything? You got 30 seconds. Go.
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations to us. And, of course, thanks to our new sponsor, Oaks Tavern. So congratulations to us on our new sponsor.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to doing some great things with Dave and Oaks Tavern. Potential, show on location in the next couple of months.
Yeah, so Steve's going to get ready for that. Just so you know, we'll be broadcasting. All right, so this is Keeping Score with Jess and Dean the Dream each and every Sunday morning, 8 o'clock on 790 The Score. Follow us on YouTube. We're back. I don't have any Kleenex in my nose. And on Instagram. And, of course, find us wherever you find your podcasts.
You look terrific.
Thanks, buddy.